I had to go to that doctor. I had to call that doctor.
You gotta go to the doctor.
I said, check my prostate. And he said, you're here for a cold.
And you're like, I know what I said. Here's my insurance card. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here physically.
We're barely hanging on.
Basically, we are. Yeah, it's folks by a thread, by a pinky nail that has been filed down. That's how much we're hanging on right now. Had another medical emergency this morning. Sinclair slipped out of her bandages, so I got to get rushed to the vet. Thankfully, Mama Grossi coming in clutch and able to. She's like, Tom, you have GPS with Brandon Perna. She didn't say any of that, but she took the dog.
She said, do not let Brandon Perna down, Tom.
Don't do it.
I will take Sinclair.
You can postpone once, but you can't postpone twice because then he'll resent you in the marriage. I'm like, Mom, I don't know if she knows what the show is. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Grossi Perna Show, otherwise known as, what is it, Brandon Perna?
GPS.
GPS. And folks, we got a show for you today. Of course, we're going to be doing our power rankings comparison. Brandon Perna cursing. Well, you know what? We'll save it. We'll save it.
I didn't curse them. The Wheel of Pain cursed them.
Joe, let's just say that people are not going to be happy about this whatsoever. Yeah. We got...
What's funny is at the beginning of the episode, I spun the wheel and it went on number 3. And I was like, I don't even remember who I put on 3. And I didn't realize until I got to that team. I was like, oh, no.
No. So that's gonna be a thing. We got to talk about Mike Tomlin and his angry but amazing rant at reporters for suggesting that he wanted to go to college. And on top of that, of course, you got trade rumors as we are less than a week away from the trade deadline, folks.
Yeah.
Tuesday, November 2nd. Get your trades in, and we'll see if there's a Deshaun Watson trade looming.
Yeah. It seems like there's only one possibility now. So the Panthers are out. We'll get into that a bit.
They're out.
The NFL had its fall league meetings. And Roger Goodell, of course, was asked some questions about the Washington football team emails. He basically said, smell you guys later. We did everything in our power to do nothing, and we're sticking by that.
Urinating Trees meme on Twitter of the NFL, like giving the medal to the NFL, is a perfect representation of that. It's just like, we've done a thorough investigation of ourselves, and
turns out we're innocent.
We're clean. We're clean.
We'll get into that. And
Thursday night football preview too, which will feature Tom Grossi as the star wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers. Suiting up because everyone else is getting COVID positive tests. So
some things they just stay relevant.
Yeah,
and Tom Grossi, wide receiver, is just as relevant.
Never goes away. If my life wasn't in total shambles right now, in which every waking moment was a nightmare, I would probably make another wide receiver video.
Oh yeah.
We got nightmares going on.
We should have coordinated it where I shot footage where I was throwing you the footballs and then you were doing all your catch stuff and then you put that together, look real nice.
That could look real nice.
I got a field behind my house too, bro.
All right, bro. I had to travel 5 minutes to get to my field, but all right, bro. All right, we can. All right, we'll throw the old pigskin around, a little.
One day, GPS comes together. Tom Grossi, Brandon Perna throw footballs together.
I want to do the entire show, just one wide shot with lapel mics, and it's just us playing a game of catch the entire time. So no imagery, just that the entire time. Yeah. So Deshaun Watson.
And we just have my wife off camera feeding us some of the comments.
Yeah.
The supers.
Let's see. Die in a Fire 69 says. All right, folks. Let's start off with our title here and talk about Mr. Mike Tomlin, the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
So you need some context here because basically Mike Tomlin got asked about if he was interested in the USC head coaching job during a press conference, and he just goes off. He goes off on the media, which is great. I agree with 98% of the things he said. There's something I want to talk about there, though. But the reason that question was asked, it wasn't just like out of nowhere. Carson Palmer was on the Dan Patrick Show, and Dan was asking him about the USC head coaching vacancy, and Carson Palmer apparently still very well connected to USC. He is in the conversations with USC about who that might be. So he was like, we've got a lot of front runners. He named like a bunch of people. He threw Mike Tomlin's name in there as somebody who could possibly be a candidate. He didn't say Tomlin was interested, but the way he painted it was
implied.
Coaches like Mike Tomlin who maybe kind of over their job, like the uncertainty without Big Ben moving forward, having to find a new quarterback. So like some things where you're like, oh, is Mike Tomlin unhappy in Pittsburgh? So that's where it came from. And the really interesting thing is Palmer was saying all of this like it was common knowledge. And Dan Patrick kind of followed up on it. He's like, this is some spicy stuff.
Yeah.
And this was Carson Palmer's response to Dan Patrick when he sort of realized that maybe that was information that they were having behind the scenes.
That's pretty spicy with Mike Tomlin there. I like it.
Is that the first you've heard of that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So I think Carson Palmer said something he wasn't supposed to say, which makes me think these rumors have a little more truth to them.
I just love that it's just,
Yeah, and why is Carson Palmer in a dungeon?
That's pretty spicy with Mike Tomlin there.
He's like, that's like the one part of his house that he's allowed to like be free in or whatever. It's like, you just go down to the 16th century basement that we have down there. Meanwhile, it's a wine cellar that's filled with like $1 million bottles of wine. And we're just like, it's a dungeon. But yeah, no, that man has more money than we'll ever have.
Yeah. So that's what prompted the question. And I'm going to play the clip from Mike Tomlin's press conference because this is gold. Just pure. This is more gold than the Steelers gold.
Guys, I don't have time for that speculation. I mean, that's a joke to me. I got one of the best jobs in all of professional sport. Why would I have any interest in coaching college football? That'll be the last time that I address it. And not only today, but moving forward. Never say never, but never. Okay? Anybody else got any questions about any college jobs? There's not a booster with a big enough blank check.
Anyone else? All right.
Thank you. Anybody asking Sean Payton about that? You know, anybody asking Andy Reid about stuff like that?
It's gold. I saw that yesterday. I was just like,
yeah, good for you, Mike.
Like I imagine, like, if you're the reporter, like, you're that poor son of a bitch who was just like, hey, Mike, like, because he's not even, like, coming up with the rumor. He's like, Carson Palmer said this, and, like, Carson Palmer's dead now. Like, that dungeon is where he's going to live now because Mike Tomlin is going to find him and kill him. But the idea that, like, that poor reporter was just doing his job and is like, hey, like, you know, these rumors, and he was just like, you see the inhale that he's about to do before he unleashes fury upon them.
Yeah, and to be fair, there's not a booster with a big enough blank check, Perna. Yeah, baby. I'd coach college football easiest job on earth. Run a pass where everybody is wide open because our team is so much better than the other team. Like I gotta go coach for like USC or something like that. But Eric Bieniemy was like the first NFL coach linked to the USC job. People thought he might just go take it right away. So, Tomlin's not the first NFL coach that they linked to this upcoming job. And I think the part that's, like you said, the reporter was just basing this off of what Carson Palmer said. So I think Tomlin got offended kind of by the wrong thing. Like the reporter was just like, hey, are you going to USC? Like this came out of nowhere. The reporter's like, somebody notable said this.
Yeah.
And the reason Sean Payton and Andy Reid haven't been asked about it is because Carson Palmer didn't mention either of their names. He just said Mike Tomlin. And I think Mike Tomlin might be a little interested in it because I feel like him getting that upset is him trying to dispel any rumors to keep his job safe with the Steelers because they don't fire coaches. They stick around. Tomlin has never deserved to be fired. All he's done since he's been there is produce winning seasons with the team. I don't think he's ever had a losing season as a head coach. So it's not like a knock on him as a head coach. It's just somebody said his name and said it was connected to USC. It's not a reflection on him as a head coach. I think he felt like somebody was suggesting he's going to be done without Ben Roethlisberger. Maybe he's not a good head coach without, a good quarterback or something like that. There's a lot of reasons you can get offended, but
I think there's a lot of layers to it too, because like, even if he was interested in it before, can you imagine being a player and hearing that like your coach wants out after the season? Like you're going to have like no motivation to play for that coach. You lose the locker room. It's done. So I feel like there's a lot there. So even if he was interested, you can run into those consequences. But even if he wasn't interested, those rumors could have like damaged the locker room, right? Because if you have young players who are like, or veteran players who are like, hey, this guy isn't here for us, then that gets undone very, very quickly. And the Steelers, not being the greatest football team, they're already teetering on the edge of mediocrity. So I feel like, I understand him getting heated and getting upset. I think at the end of the day, it comes down to Carson Palmer, and his face is like perfect for that. Of just like, oh no, what have I done? But Tomlin was just like, listen, I like that no one's ever going to ask him about college football ever again. And I would absolutely love at the end of the year, Mike Tomlin left the Steelers to go coach college football.
Yeah, it's like even it's like a Pennsylvania college win, say the national championship. They're like, nobody ask Tomlin about how he feels about Pitt winning it all or something, or even the prospect of drafting a quarterback from that college.
He doesn't
want to talk about it.
I'd kill those kids. He's like, I would kill them.
College? You expect me to go back to college?
He's like, what is this, 21 Jump Street?
Yeah, it's like, I think Carson Palmer, they've been talking about Tomlin for a while.
Yeah.
And maybe like they've just been talking about Tomlin. He actually has no interest in it. So it seemed like there's a lot of possibilities here. But also, I love a head coach that isn't afraid to just speak his mind. Like I've been watching such vanilla press conferences with like Vic Fangio and all these guys. Like, give me somebody like Tomlin or Dan Campbell. When they're a little upset, not going to hold it back. I love that shit. I love it.
Vic Fangio looks like the kind of guy who would get bronchitis in the middle of the summer. Like the way that he holds himself, he's always like dressed up in like an uncomfortable sweatshirt, and he's talking like this. And he just seems like a cranky old man who like waits a good 45 minutes for his tea to get cool.
It's too hot.
It's too hot. It's gonna mess with the dentures. But
this is chamomile? I want chai, you son of a...
Bengali spice? That's too exotic for me. Well, like years ago, before LaFleur got hired, they were talking about Mike Tomlin, like being like the Steelers fans wanted Tomlin out. And I was like, I would take Mike Tomlin in a heartbeat. Oh my God. Like he's a great head coach. He's not the issue. I mean, like you could say that maybe the loyalty to Ben, but I think that extends beyond Tomlin. Yeah. I think that could be an issue and like wanting to evolve. But I mean, I think Mike Tomlin's a great head coach. And it always is great, like when he gives it back to them and you don't get like the coach speak. Right. Of it's just like, oh, well, I'm not going to give any credence to those rumors. I'm going to focus on the locker room. I'm going to focus on this season with this team. It wasn't none of that. He's like, no, I'm going to take this rumor. I'm going to take it out back, shoot it in the head, dig the hole in front of you, bury it, right, and leave it unmarked and just walk away and maybe urinate on it.
And like Vic Fangio with more mafia ties, that's you would want him to have that sort of, attitude.
Yeah.
And like Tomlin, he's such a good head coach that you don't even think about him as like an offensive or defensive guy.
No,
He's just a good head coach.
He's an all-around
right?
well-balanced coach.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because like you look at the coaches that stand out, and I think like what you said about people are so tired of like the cookie cutter, right? Look at Dan Campbell. Like Dan Campbell is getting so much. Their team is winless, but I don't see anybody talking about Dan Campbell being a bad coach.
No.
Right? Like they haven't won a single game this season, but they're just like every press conference, like everything that he's doing. Like I want to see, and I know you mentioned this on Monday, I want to see Dan Campbell go out there and call the Philly special like every other play. Like I want him to call like Madden plays. I want like just go balls to the wall. Hey, listen, we're not doing well, but let's go and like try to kick teams in the teeth. And like, hopefully we can get a win here.
He just needs to go full analytics nerd. Like he needs to be like, okay, this week, analytics guy, you're sitting right next to the offensive coordinator, and we are doing everything you say is the mathematic correct approach to.
He's going to moneyball it.
Yeah. So never punting. Fine. We're going to do it. Fake punts. You're like you said, Philly specials, whatever. All game, we are going balls to the walls analytics just to see if it works. Because, a lot more NFL teams have embraced that approach, and less teams are punting on fourth down, those sort of things. But nobody's gone full analytics nerd out there. And
I think, all right, listen, this might be a stretch here, but Guardians of the Galaxy, the original one, in which Star-Lord was able to seize the day and get the Power Stone because of a dance-off, right?
Right.
So he is able to do that. Jamal Williams is one of the greatest dancers in the NFL. I think you send him out there, and it might be a little bit of a false start, but like he just starts dancing, right? Teams are distracted. They don't know what's going on. Boom, it's a touchdown. How'd it happen? I don't know. The camera guy doesn't even know because he was watching Jamal Williams. I'm saying utilize your strengths, Dan Campbell. Yeah. Utilize them. That's it.
I think you get Jamal Williams. You spread him out wide, force a safety or a corner to match up with him one-on-one. And then you just have Jamal Williams start talking about anime. Just don't even, and he doesn't stop.
He's
just
like, how you feel about that Cowboy Bebop thing on Netflix? How you feel about that? How you feel? I think, well, that's the thing. You can make contact, within 5 yards. If he just runs up to a corner, grabs the swell of their back, and grabs their one hand and starts ballroom dancing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you're a ref, do you even throw a flag on that? No. I feel like you can.
If it's within 5 yards, do it, is what I say.
I think you can. I say, like, listen, find every loophole like Bill Belichick did a couple years ago, like with the delay of games and like, right, it was a delay of game like over and over and over again. Yeah. Find every loophole you possibly can and exploit it. I want a rule book open, and I want that, like, that's fine. Like, just do everything you can.
Oh, here's what you do if you're Dan Campbell. You go out. First series, your offense has the ball.
Yeah.
You punt it. On the first down. On first down, Jared Goff, shotgun, boom, just punts it. What's better, a touchdown or stopping the other team on their own 2? Making them back up to the end zone, get a safety, like the other losing teams from last week.
Yeah, exactly.
The Texans got a safety and lost. Did the Giants get the other safety? Yeah, because Sam Darnold, damn it. I wish the Panthers and the Texans both got safeties and lost, but Sam Darnold grounded it from his own pocket in the end zone. So,
oh, Sammy. Anyway,
all right.
So that's Mike Tomlin.
That's Mikey Tomlin.
Now, of course,
I would kill for him to be the Broncos head coach.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Now, the other news is indicated by our title is we're still talking about Deshaun Watson because, and it's going to happen for another 6 days, folks, at least another 6 days.
Yeah. Not going away like my cold.
Like, there's been a lot of pressure, I would say, on Roger Goodell to be like, hey, you could end this like right now. Like right now, you could stop this. You could put him on the list, in the commissioner's list, so he can't participate. You could do that. You could stop it. But what does he say, Brandon Perna? What does he say?
Oh, Roger Goodell says we don't have enough information from the investigation to make a conclusion about whether or not he should be on the exempt list. Therefore, we're not going to put him on that. He says we pride ourselves to making sure we get the right info, and they don't have all the access to the case. So they're not going to put him on the exempt list right now. To me, that means Deshaun Watson is still making the NFL money. He is still drawing eyeballs to local
circus
and YouTube crap video makers.
Yep.
Deshaun, you put Deshaun Watson in the title and the thumbnail, people click on that. So basically, the NFL is going to let the legal situation play out, and maybe they don't have access to it. I find that hard to believe. Like when the NFL wants access to something, they seem to get it. So if they wanted to find out more info, then they could. I just don't think they want to.
The NFL could put a stop to this circus right now, but they won't. And I think that if this trade goes through, I think I mentioned this on Monday because Florio popped up, unfortunately, on my TV screen on Sunday night when he was explaining about this, saying that like Deshaun Watson can settle at any time. So if he goes to the Dolphins, he can settle those cases, pay a crap ton of money, don't get me wrong, but then it can be done and it can be over with. And so then he could just move forward and that's it. And if he's going to get no punishment from the NFL, it's done.
He could. And I read that he is still refusing to take that approach. So I believe Watson still wants to fight this case, and is not willing to settle. And if you believe you're innocent, that makes sense. So it's interesting because if he goes to Miami via a trade and he's not on the exempt list, he could play. That's an interesting thing about Steve Spagnuolo. We can get to that in a minute. New punk rants. Thank you for the super chat. But what was I saying? Like he's just refusing to play for the Texans right now. That's why he's not playing. It's
correct
because that relationship
is done.
Was broken long ago. Although, if you're Deshaun, it's like, all right, I got all this stuff going on. I still want to play. You guys are cool with letting me play. Like, why wouldn't you?
I think he hates them that much. Like, I think like now, because the big stink that he made of like, I'm not playing for the Texans. Like, he's just like, nah, like, I'm just done with the organization. And to be fair, and I'm not taking any moral advice from Deshaun Watson here, but considering the players that spoke out against the Texans, was that this summer or last summer when Deshaun was like, I'm not playing for them. And you had like veterans coming out and they're like, oh no, they suck. Like they're bad. JJ Watt was just like, you know, I love you Texans. Appreciate you. Okay, bye. And he's just like, thank Christ I'm out of there. When you want to move to Arizona, then you know it's bad, folks. Like it's not, you know, you know that it's not great. So I think it gets like 125 degrees there. So I think that I can understand he just doesn't want to play with that organization anymore. I just think, again, it's a huge risk for any team that picks him up because is he staying in football shape? Like, can he, if the Dolphins traded for him right now, is he starting like next week? I don't know.
Yeah. And you've got Tua in 2 weeks being back after injury has looked from those 2 weeks alone like he's gotten better. Small sample size, but I think there's too much to develop with Tua and too much to give up where if you get Watson, you're going to have a tough time putting a good team around him. Now, we kind of learned over the weekend that the Panthers emerged as another team who was seriously interested in Deshaun Watson, allegedly. They have said they will not pursue him. That came out from the league meetings or whatever. So the Panthers are out. And based on what Ian Rappaport has said, the only team Deshaun Watson has waived his no trade clause for is the Dolphins. So that's why everyone's still talking about the Dolphins. It means Watson's willing to go there. It means the Texans are certainly willing to trade him. Whether the Dolphins are willing to pull that trigger, I don't know. Supposedly, the parameters of the trade have been agreed upon, but now it's just, is Miami going to make that move? So, that's what you wait and see. And we don't know. But
it's gonna be a long 6 days. And I'm very curious because if they are getting Deshaun Watson, I imagine they're moving Tua right now. Like they're gonna move him before the deadline because otherwise, what's the point? I understand you're not paying him a lot of money, but what's the point then? At least get something right now.
Come on, Broncos, let's get Tua, baby.
I don't think is it me? Hold on. Let me
give me Tua Tagovailoa.
Okay. Let me pull up some stats here. Is it just me that he's not that bad?
No, he's a rookie who hasn't played a full season, essentially.
Okay. He started 9 games last year, and he's played 4 games this year. And this year, he has a 69.5% completion rating, has 835 yards, 7 touchdowns, 4 picks. Yeah, it's basically a rookie QB. And he had, I know Atlanta, he threw that bad interception, but he also threw 4 touchdowns.
Yeah. What he's done the last 2 weeks is he's put his team in position to win late in the fourth quarter. I think that says much more about a guy than, a young guy throwing a couple bad picks. You can correct that. It's not an accuracy issue.
And look who he's throwing to. I like Davante Parker. Listen, don't get me wrong. I like him. Will Fuller can't stay healthy. Right? Yeah. There's not amazing guys that are back there that are oh man.
What about that Dolphins running game that helps a young QB out?
Oh yeah, it's so great right now. That, it just doesn't make sense to me. That's just, it's crazy to me that you're oh, okay. Yeah. We're just gonna get rid of him right now. They have Waddle, but Waddle's injured, right? He just got hurt in the last game, I think. And he
played well with, Tua started utilizing Waddle more too.
Yeah.
So it's, and Waddle is a rookie as well.
Gesicki's great. I love him as a tight end. I think he is underrated. I love him. But again, it's just a matter of what help does he have, 1, and 2, the guy has barely played double-digit games. I don't know. That's
I'll
just
say
me.
this. I'll play devil's advocate.
Okay.
The fact that Tua Tagovailoa is wasting the talents of Andrew Van Ginkel on defense, dude should be fired right now.
Today, right now.
That's the real story with the Dolphins. Their defense was very good last year, and now it's not so good. Andrew Van Ginkel was a great story. He had a good season, and then on the off season, he was taking pictures with alligators and shit. It was oh, this guy's fun. This is a great guy to follow. Xavier Howard was locked down, Mr. 10, 11 picks last year.
Yeah.
They're just not getting a lot from their defense. So
I think
its offensive line has not been good. So
well, that's what I was about to say. He started 9 games last year and got sacked 20 times. So yeah, it's not great. And I can understand the injury part, right? Of you do wonder about his long-term health.
Sure.
That I think is valid. That's a different conversation. But if you're going after how he's playing, I don't think it's enough to be hey, let's give away our future because they already don't have a first rounder next for this coming draft, right? So you're talking about most likely 3 first rounders still, or at least 2. You're not going to be picking for at least another 3 or 4 years in the first round. That's a lot to give away. And I know we talked about this. Deshaun Watson can do without a good offensive line. Deshaun Watson can do a lot of things. Yeah. And I think he's a very good quarterback. I mean, again, it's putting a lot of eggs in that basket for a guy who, again, you don't even know if he's going to play.
Watson's, in my opinion, in terms of talent, the closest guy in overall talent as the NFL has to Aaron Rodgers. That's how good he is when he's on the field. That's why the NFL is probably willing to look.
He's the top 5
the other
QB
way while all this
right now
stuff's going down. What's that?
Yeah, easy. He's a top 5 QB right now. Right now, he's starting. He's a top 5 QB because there's what the numbers that he puts up with the lack of talent that they have on that team is incredible.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
I'll tell you who 2 is better than right now.
Who?
Zach Wilson, Justin Fields.
Yep.
Trey Lance.
Yep.
Maybe Trevor Lawrence. Mac Jones. You could start to have a debate.
Yeah, start having a debate.
So all of the quarterbacks drafted this year, I would say Tua's a little bit better than.
But I think Washington came out and said that they don't want, right? They came out with the rumor that they were in that three-way
There was
trade.
like a three-way team trade.
Washington
the Broncos and the football team were both linked to that.
Yeah, that's
also,
what I'm saying.
If you're those organizations, though, even if you are linked, you're going to deny that.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to offend. Well, apparently Ryan Fitzpatrick's still on crutches. His hip's not healing that quickly. Taylor Heineke, which we'll talk about in a little bit, I thought played maybe a little better than he got credit for last week. And also Monday, we kind of wrote Justin Fields off with all of those turnovers. And see, I do the full recap after we do our show, and I watched through the Bears highlights, given I didn't watch the whole game. But I think 2 of his 3 interceptions weren't really even his fault.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know that the offensive line is bad.
God awful.
One of the interceptions just went right through, I forget whose hands. It might've been Mooney's hands. It was a little bit high, but I think you see those 5 turnovers and you're just oh yeah, that guy sucks. But really, I don't think it was as bad as, I don't think he deserves all the blame is what I was saying after kind of rewatching that.
So you're saying Tua, so they have longer completions. I mean, but is that really the stat that we're hinging a successful quarterback on? I mean, you could look at Tom Brady, and Brady is plenty of seasons where he's not chucking it down the field. He can, and he still has it. But
I think to me that says Tua's he's not taking risks. He's making safe, smart decisions. And sometimes that's the hardest thing to teach a young quarterback.
Sure. Instead of
if
forcing
he knows
the ball.
Where the safe play is with the ball, I think you can teach a guy to take the shots. I think it's a lot harder to take. I mean, you had to do the reverse with Josh Allen, basically. It's working now. Allen's issue was he was just wildly inaccurate taking all of his shots his rookie season. Maybe one of the most inaccurate looking quarterbacks I've ever seen. And now look at him. So quarterbacks can develop. They're just not given time sometimes. And I get as a Dolphins fan, it's probably frustrating. You've been through this so many times. They haven't found a guy since Dan Marino. The best looking quarterback they had was Ryan Fitzpatrick. And they let that one get away.
So I think it comes down to, okay, so Deshaun Watson, if he's going to get traded, within this next week, is going to go to Miami. If you're the Dolphins, I'm assuming you're trying to offload Tua. You're probably not going to get a first for him, because especially if teams know that you're desperate to offload him. And I mean, Brandon Perna, you could argue you might be in the need for a QB. Do you go after Tua?
I'd take a shot on Tua. I don't know enough about the upcoming college quarterbacks in the draft. I only know Carson Strong because Will Keys, big Carson Strong fan, basically shouted him out before people started talking about Carson Strong. But I don't know how good the rookie quarterbacks are. And I know everyone's oh, this class sucks. There's no quarterbacks here. By the end of the college season, there'll be a handful of guys. Everyone's oh yeah, that guy can play in the NFL. But
it's definitely a weaker class.
Maybe. Look how weak this current class looks. And it was a strong class.
Sure.
It was a weak class until it was a strong class. But it's all about need. How many teams need quarterbacks? That's what makes a bunch of QBs go early. If you can get Tua, that's in your control.
Yeah.
Where you draft and who is drafted ahead of you, really not in your control as a franchise. Correct. So if you think Tua can be a franchise guy, I take that chance because it's within your power to get him. You got a tank to get one of these other guys.
You know what I'm very curious about, because someone was mentioning this in the comments, and I think it's valid. Ryan Fitzpatrick was able to take that team that had no business of winning, the Dolphins, and actually got some wins out of them, right? And rallied at the end, and that was nice. Ryan Tannehill, who looks like a completely different QB in Tennessee than he did in Miami, just goes to show, one, you have a run game that you could rely on. 2, you have a somewhat competent offensive line. You have these things, and that now he has receivers and all that great stuff. Tannehill has been playing great football for the past few years.
And Tannehill, like Tua, his biggest issue early in Miami before Gase showed up, injuries.
Yep.
I think he tore his ACL, right? I forget, but Tannehill was good, and then he got hurt, and then Adam Gase was there, and everyone's oh, I mean, They went through Cutler after that. I think Brock Osweiler was there. And I believe that's because Tannehill got hurt again. So, yeah, Tannehill healthy now. And it's hard because you could have a quarterback like Tannehill's good, but you don't have the right coaching staff there with him. And
Correct.
if the Broncos are going to be in on Tua, the thing they have to think about is like, who's the next head coach? Is that guy and that offensive coordinator going to be a good fit with Tua? And at this point, the Broncos don't know who that is. So it's hard to say, let's go get Tua when we don't even know who the hell our coaching staff's going to be, because that relationship, very, very important.
Well, I think well, that's the thing too, because not only is this impacting Tua, and I'm not going to pour any gasoline on this fire, but there have been some fans who say, hey, listen, there's a weak QB class coming up. Why don't you trade Jordan Love?
Ooh.
And I was like, oh God, I don't even want to get into this. I don't even want to talk about it. But there's people that have said, like, listen, it's a weak QB class. You probably won't get a first and a fourth for him, which is what you spent on it because you traded up. You probably won't get that because he hasn't played. He hasn't played anything. But like, you probably get a solid second out of him. Yep. And I'm like looking at this and I'm like,
you got to know Rodgers coming back,
there,
right?
But I mean, the cap is going to punch you in the balls next year. So like,
here's how delusional I am, Tom.
Yeah.
There was like the meme. There's Aaron Rodgers around Matt LaFleur.
Did you just say Mike, you son of a bitch?
Matt LaFleur.
It's Matt LaFleur.
Matty LaFleur. And somebody was like, caption this, wrong answers only, something like that. And in my head, I was like, so I think somebody was like, let's, LaFleur was like, take me wherever you go after this season.
Yeah.
And then in my head, I'm like, oh,
Denver.
The Broncos need a quarterback and a QB. Would LaFleur be like, yeah, I'll go coach in Denver and bring Aaron Rodgers with me? Because Aaron Rodgers likes LaFleur. He likes everybody in Green Bay, and he seems to be having the time of his life right now. Very positive, very grateful. But is he so grateful because he really believes his time is up there? I don't know. The more the Packers win in adversity, and the more I'm inclined to think he's going to just go back. Like, if he likes the team and the coaches and the play, like, why wouldn't you? But anyway,
I mean, it's the front office. Like, that's what it comes down to. It comes down to the front office. Yeah. But I think, I mean, it's the way that he is talking about Green Bay, I think has sown a lot of seeds of doubt of like, oh, maybe he won't leave next year. But people also have to understand, like, it's not just like, does Aaron want to stay or not? There's cap ramifications. There's the front office going, this is the last year since they voided the third year. Next year's the last year they have an opportunity to get something for Aaron Rodgers, and it'd probably be 3 first-round picks, because especially if you're talking about you're talking about a class who the QBs are not, really that great coming out of school, or at least that's what the perception is. And you have a QB needy team, which there are plenty of in this league. I said it. If they're the Eagles and you have 3 top 15, let's go. Okay. I'll take them. I don't need any players. 3 top 15. Like, go to work.
When's Matt LaFleur's contract up? That's what I'm checking right now.
Matt LaFleur. The Packers. Yeah, no. I mean, he's gonna be great. So I don't think LaFleur is leaving. I don't think that's going to be the case at all. But
LaFleur would be smart to follow Rodgers if that's a possibility.
Listen, all I want to know is if he gets traded to the Broncos, how much cap you got like lying around? You okay with the cap?
Cap space?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Broncos are going to be in a good cap spot.
Okay, so trade us like Jerry Jeudy or Cortland Sutton, and then Davante Adams will come with, because he'll just sign with the Broncos. We can't trade him. I just want to see those two together. They make such beautiful together.
Davante Adams and Rodgers.
Which is why he's just going to go to the Raiders with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. We'll give you Cortland Sutton.
Okay. I like Cortland Sutton.
And I think he's the most talented receiver the Broncos have. Jerry Jeudy hasn't been able to stay healthy this season. A lot of question marks there. I think Sutton's the more sure thing, but I think Sutton needs to get paid after this offseason, so that might be an issue.
So that's the thing. So Professor Chaos, to answer your question, it's basically what teams look at Tua for. Do they think he's a starting QB, or do they think that he is a backup? If he's a backup and Tua is willing to get paid like a backup, which I don't think is going to be the case, like at least for like another couple of years, I don't think that the Browns are going to pull the trigger on it. I think that at this point, if it doesn't happen before the deadline,
that's a good question.
That's a great question. I think
it hinges on the case.
You're taking a risk because if you trade him now, I think you have that definite value. If, however, there's some QBs coming out of college that all of a sudden rise up the ranks, maybe that value like decreases a little bit, or it could increase because maybe it just like says, hey, like, nah, like the QBs are trash. And now everybody wants Watson because they're willing to pay for it because they're not going to get a replacement.
I do think Watson gets traded to Miami. I just don't know if it is before the trade deadline. I would say they're like.
Are they a winning team right now if they get Deshaun Watson?
They're
with
showing
defense, with everything.
They could be. I mean, it's hard to underplay the value of a transcendent talent at QB.
Yes.
And we can hype up Tua all we want, but he's not Deshaun Watson on the field.
No.
He could turn into someone that is top 10, but should Detroit jump Goff, trade for Mitch Trubisky, biting kneecaps, kissing titties in the Motor City?
Listen, that MVP, if there's anything I want, if the Green Bay Packers cannot win a Super Bowl, I want the Bills to win a Super Bowl just so Mitch Trubisky gets a ring. Yes. And I know all people are going to be like, oh, Mitch Trubisky and Aaron Rodgers have the same amount of rings. But I'm like, no, he literally went to a different franchise than you and won a ring. Like, done. So
I think Baker's fine. I think
he's fine too.
Will be smart to get that deal done. They've got the coaching staff. They've got the offensive line. They've got the scheme that Baker's a good fit for. I wouldn't write Baker off. And he's a guy who's trying to play through a really bad injury right now. Like that's the kind of attitude and
grit.
Grit. Yes. That's the kind of attitude and grit you want to see. Oh, did you see your boy Ben Kurt get into it on Twitter with Bengal? Oh my God. It got a little out of control. I think they were both kind of kidding around, but it was pretty funny.
Nobody disrespects my boy Ben Kurt like that. Nobody disrespects him.
No.
Like, all right. So yeah, I saw like a little bit. He says, "Okay, I was joking. No need to go crazy." You can't sick. Listen, you can't sick the Packers Twitter on people because they'll attack. They'll go.
That was his one flub. That was Ben Kirk's mistake.
Yeah. So I mean, if let's just say Bengal had like a really successful like daily show Monday through Friday starting at noon Eastern, I mean he'd be blocked right now if Bengal had that. So you gotta be careful where you tread. So, but yes. Brandon Perna, is it time for
power ranking?
Power rankings combo.
Let's get out the girthy power rankings and compare them.
Girthy.
This is where we really need a little music cue and visual graphic for the power rankings compare. All right,
it's Big Fangio.
Tom and I, both of us, just scrambling in our daily lives to get through the day.
Accurate.
Didn't really have time to get the back side to side power rankings done today, so we each have to have our own. We're gonna have to go back and forth. And I didn't watch Tom's power rankings this week. I don't even know where the teams stand, so this is gonna be interesting.
It's gonna be a whole new world, baby. All right, I'll start off with me. I'll look at my 6 through 10, and then we'll pull up your 6 through 10, and we'll talk about it. All right.
All right.
Let's get it. All right. First, my 6, I got my Packers hanging on number 6. I got my Bengals at number 7. I got my Rams at number 8. I got my Ravens at number 9, and I got the Chargers at number 10. Okay.
Cool. Okay.
And let's look at Brandon Perna. Oh.
Okay. So I did something a little different.
What is this?
Okay. I said The Chargers, the Bills, and the Cowboys were all on a bye week. So they are on the Perna reserve list. So they maintain their power ranking spot. But
what?
Shailene. I did not want to put them into the power rankings because they didn't play this week. So they had no opportunity to move.
That's not how it works.
They had no opportunity to move up or down. And I wanted to get some other teams in there that maybe, might not be on there next week. So I went with Colts, Raiders, Browns.
You
Ravens.
have 13 in the top 10. That's cheating.
Well, look, I didn't talk about those teams. They're on bye weeks. That's how I'm going to do the bye weeks from now on. Because Tom, my power rankings are week to week. What did you do 3 weeks ago? Don't give a shit because a lot can change in 3 weeks in the NFL. So my Rams people are like the Rams should be higher. Well, cut it a little close against the Lions. That's why the Rams.
Hold on. Oh, wait. No, we can't do it both at the same time.
Oh, you got them at 8. I got them at 6.
Yeah. All right. I have them at 8. Yeah. Because exactly what you said. I think it's a flawed football team. I think it's a very good football team. Cooper Kupp's amazing. Matthew Stafford had 3 TDs. The talent on that team won them that game because they just had more talent than the Detroit Lions did. Yeah. So I agree with the Rams being a little low.
Their one loss against a very good Cardinals team. So
yep, exactly. All right. So yeah. So 10, I have the Chargers. You have the Chargers at 8, but you have them with the Browns.
Yeah. So the Chargers were on 8 last week. All right. So that's why they stay at 8. So I just focused on the Browns, who I think got back into the list. I don't even remember what I did the week before. I put the Browns at 8 because I thought it says a lot about their football team to beat the Broncos on Thursday night, a short week, without their starting quarterback, without both of their starting running backs. They bring in Ernest Johnson, just goes off. I think the Browns have a very good offensive line that is going to pay dividends come December and January. And
that's the reason why I didn't put them on the list, though, is because they have so many injuries. If they go up against a good team,
but what about the Packers?
Yeah, and the Packers are still beating teams pretty soundly.
The Browns just beat the Broncos.
I know, that's why I said good teams.
Okay, fair enough. Got me there. Got me there, Tom.
And listen, you gave the Packers the Australian treatment over here.
Yeah, the logo flipped upside down accidentally. I go, I'm just going to leave it.
All right, I had the Ravens at 9. You had them at 7. The Raiders and Colts, I'm not even going to acknowledge them on your list because...
Whoa, the Raiders win 2 in a row without Gruden.
I know, and they are my number 11. If I was picking 13 teams to put in the top 10, they'd be my number 11. But it's blasphemy that you have 13 there, but we're gonna ignore it.
It's not 13. It's 10 with 3 on the Perna reserve list.
It's funny because I did not get a chance to watch yours, and when John messaged me this morning, it was like Perna's just confused me, so I didn't even know how to put it in a list. And I was like, what could be that confusing? John, I get it. I get it now. I understand completely.
Sorry, John. Here's what I'm learning about the power rankings. They're fun.
They are.
But it's boring to talk about the same teams every week. So
that's what I said in my episode yesterday. I said, this is the weird time. It's funny because I watched the beginning of yours and then I watched to see who you cursed. So I watched it while I was editing. I was doing that. And you and I said almost the exact same thing to start it off with. This is the weird time in the power rankings where you see a lot of the same teams just getting shuffled around in there. So yeah, I understand the nuance and wanting to spice it up a little bit. I get it.
I thought this was a fair way to do it.
It's still 13 in the top 10, but
yeah. My power rankings are whack.
They're chaotic.
Okay.
All right. So you got, this is again, so 9 and 10, you got the Colts there. I understand. Raiders, I get it. Browns, they were a little too injured for my taste. Because then this is where we're going to differ. I knew you were going to put the Bengals up super high. I have the Bengals at 7.
The first place in the AFC, Tom. First place that they just beat the Ravens, who were my number 3 team the week before.
They were my number 2 team. I know. Wow. And they bounced up, But here's the thing. Here's where you and I did agree, is that people were saying, even Titans fans were like, Titans at 3? That's way too high. You put the Titans at 4.
Yeah.
So I respect that, Brandon Perna, because I said, listen, they beat 2 quality, a little bit less quality in the Chiefs this year. They beat 2 quality teams. They beat the Bills. And on top of that, they freaking held Patrick Mahomes and that offense to 3 points. They deserve a big old boost in the power rankings right now.
And the Titans, they're getting okay on defense. That's the thing. Like,
that's the crazy thing.
Harold Landry and Jeffrey Simmons they're turning into beasts on that defensive line. Bud Dupree finding his way to the QB. Like, they're putting something together there in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And the way they beat the Chiefs with Derrick Henry only having 86 rushing yards, I found very impressive, because people keep forgetting, outside Derrick Henry, they still got Julio Jones and AJ Brown in the receiving game.
That's it.
And Anthony Ferks are in there every now and then.
God, this is all right. So we agreed on number 1 at least, and we kind of agree on number 2, because we had the Bucks there. The Bucks absolutely spanking the pants. You got the Bills down at 7, while I got them up at 4, because I still think they're a very good football team. And then you had the Cowboys kind of at 2, and I had them at 5.
Yeah. So the Bengals got cursed on mine.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to get into. And people are very upset about this, Brandon Perna, because I was getting tagged a lot on the Twitters. And I even went and commented on your video too.
I saw that.
I left a comment.
YouTube does this weird thing where it'll notify you when somebody who has a following on YouTube comments on your videos.
Yes, it's weird.
And I only get it from when you comment there. It's like Tom Grossi commented on your video. And then when I click on it, though, to go and try and respond to you, sometimes it doesn't bring me to your comment.
Yes, YouTube sucks. With that, it's really, really bad. It'll pop up. I'm like, oh, I'll heart it and let me go comment, and then it's not there. And I'm like, oh.
And then it's then I just got to wait for a bunch of people to thumbs it up to get where I can see it, and then by that time I forgot. So,
so you're saying you didn't like my comment?
I liked it. No, I haven't liked it yet physically, but I liked it in my heart.
Okay, this is GPS falling apart at the seams, it seems, but
yes, it does. Okay, here's the thing. I implemented the Wheel of Pain.
You did.
For the curse, because I thought I had to take it out of my hands, because I tried to curse the Buccaneers. Didn't work. So I spun it. It landed on 3.
Last week, I saw one of your comments, which was golden, because last week, for folks who didn't see it, the Chargers got cursed and they were on a bye week this week. And one of your comments, and I died laughing, was like, wow, you cursed the Chargers so hard they didn't score a single point this week.
Nice. See, and that's the thing about doing the spin wheel at the start of the show. I don't know. I don't remember who's on a bye. I didn't even realize the Chargers were on a bye until I saw it in the comments. So it lands on 3. Just happens to be where the Bengals are. I said I didn't want them to be cursed. The good news for the Bengals, they play the Jets this week.
Yes, they do.
So if anybody's going to get a slow burn curse, it's the Bengals, because I doubt they fall to the Jets. Also, what's the probability of the number 1 team continuing to be cursed? The first few weeks, it's fun because you don't really know who's good and who's bad. We know the Cardinals are good.
I really would have liked to curse them this week. That would have been really solid for me. By the way,
they are
if we're going to a Denver game versus the Eagles, how drunk do I need to be? And then weather the cold and then watch that game. I think just all the alcohol. Also, where I can get some Broncos merch, cough, Perna, cough.
Whoa.
You show up with a Brandon Perna merch, then you are the belle of the ball. I'm just going to say
Belle of the ball.
Belle of the ball.
Michael Scott.
To watch that game, though, that you have to drink copious amounts. Eagles and Denver.
That actually might be a good game because it's 2 bad teams. We've seen that happen.
They just
Falcons, Dolphins last week. Great game. Merch. I would go to the Broncos team store at in Dove Valley where they practice. They've got a really big store there. Perna, if Joey B gets injured, Can
you imagine if something actually happens to the Bengals? You're like, Perna, buddy, I love you. You're gonna have to go into witness protection.
I
It's
know.
gonna be.
I know. And honestly, I'm not worried about Joey B. I'm worried more about Jamar Chase because look at the Bengals history. Draft Jonah Williams, doesn't play his entire rookie season. Joe Burrow tears his ACL rookie season after looking great. Jamar Chase maybe could set some records right now. That's how good he is. There's a guy I'm worried about with the curse. It is Jamar. That said, I don't think it's going to be injury related. I think the Bengals are just going to take a bad L somewhere, bad loss. Bengals also, I mentioned in the power rankings, their defense not getting enough credit.
No. Defense, very underrated. Very underrated.
Gito Bay, Awuzie, Bengals fans.
By the way, did you see that video I retweeted about the Bengals tight end? He came out with a whole video, and it's absolutely phenomenal because everyone's pronouncing his last name wrong. And even AJ Hawk, who played with him for a year, pronounced his last name wrong.
No.
Yeah, because it's Uzama. Like Uzama.
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 See, people were telling me I was saying it wrong when I was saying Uzama.
Yeah, it's you, like Hugh.
People are like, it's Uzma. Because I was like, every time I see CJ Uzama, I think of TJ Husmanzada. I'm like, oh, did TJ Husmanzada shorten his name? Because former Bengal, hard last name to say, kind of underrated ball catcher during his day. When is there going to be a Tommyism bag of bench warmer brew?
Listen, Brandon Perna is not Brandon Perna. He like one of the first people he probably approached about bench warmer brew.
Grossi was the first person I approached.
I am the first person. This was what, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, something like that.
Year and a half ago. It took a while to get this going.
Yeah,
Tom doesn't drink coffee.
I don't drink coffee, so like I'd be like, yeah, this is good. I don't know.
They're so they've got hot chocolates and some tea, but like I want whoever does it to be really into the coffee. You know what I mean? So, and Tom said that right away. He's like, I don't think it'd be a good fit because I don't drink coffee. But if there's another drink we get to somewhere that maybe Tom Tom can do it anytime. But again, it's about integrity here, you know?
Integrity.
Tom and I don't like to sell shit we don't use.
Very true.
I have coffee. I would inject coffee directly into my veins if I could. And I've been drinking really good coffee for a long time. So that's why I'm in it. Also, this week, code OLDMAN at Benchwarmer Brew. Code OLDMAN will get you $3.70 off your order in honor of my 37th birthday coming up later this week. So it's code OLDMAN. It's the cheapest you can get the coffee, and it's not cheap. So
is it Thursday?
What's that?
When is it? Is it
I don't even Friday, I think.
Friday?
Shit, yeah, Friday.
Okay. I doubt a good team loses to the Jets and be a Titans fan.
Oh yeah. See, that's what's crazy about the Titans.
They didn't have, like, to be fair, they didn't have their receivers. Like they had no receivers.
And that's why I bet on that game.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'd say maybe you should put your name on a single malt scotch, Tommy.
Oh. See,
Listen, if we get a legit brewery, let's go. Beer, I'll slap my name on that. I'll slap my face on it. And if I have some say in what kind of beer we're brewing on like we'll do tasting profiles. Listen, I know Perna, you don't drink beer though. Like that's the problem.
Yeah, just because my stomach,
my
dumb stomach.
Your tum-tum, yeah.
I drink whiskey. And what's hard about whiskey or scotch, like you try to get into that business, they age that shit for like 10 years.
I'll be dead.
Yeah.
Just the stress alone these past 2 weeks. It's taken some time off.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would love to have a whiskey.
Listen, I'll have a Tom Grossi brew. I'll make it happen. Listen, you know what? It's a call out there. We got 2,500 people in here, which by the way, appreciate you for a Wednesday. Appreciate you.
Yeah, that's a strong Wednesday.
Listen, here's what I'm going to say. If there are any micro brews out there, like any big breweries, and they want to work with Tom Grossi to create a beer, let's do it. Let's fracking do it. It's Thrasher's birthday on Friday, too.
Thrasher!
We're going to have a birthday
guys.
extravaganza.
Oh, yeah.
Extravaganza. Listen, we could do Kitty Goes Meow. Like, listen, I like that. Brewery and winery. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, let's go. We have a Kitty Goes Meow variety, right? That could be like an amber malt. Like,
Here's my prediction. In 5 years, 5 years from now, Tom Grossi and I will be doing this show live every day of the week.
Yes.
From our shared building.
Oh.
Where we sell our very own personal brands of beer and whiskeys. Some call it a bar. We call it a tasting experience.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I actually don't like coffee stouts because of that. I don't like coffee.
I love beer. I just don't drink it anymore.
Yeah, coffee flavored beer. Yeah, like I'm not a Guinness fan. I say that as obviously there's Irish here. That's why I look like a ghost. But as you can see from this translucence that here's here.
The sun just goes through Tom. If he
it does.
outside.
You see all my veins. It's
like I could get a sunburn standing behind Tom.
That's accurate. That's 100% accurate. Now I will say last thing, because we already hit noon because we crushed it. Real quick, Thursday night football preview.
Look, if the Packers get the win Thursday night, they could be, in my opinion, number 1 in the power rankings the following week. There is a lot of adversity they are stacked with right now. And I loved your confidence on Twitter, Tom. I loved the confidence. You see Davante Adams goes on the COVID list. You see Allen Lazard goes on the COVID list. Maybe you get MVS back. You guys have no receivers. No receivers really to play in this game.
We have Randall mother-loving Cobb.
Oh, yeah. Cobb's going to get 30 targets. Big
Amari Rodgers. Let's see what the rookie can do.
Big Bob Tunyon might have a game.
Roberto Grande.
I just think it would do so much for the momentum of the Packers because they got to go to Arizona, right? Too?
Yeah.
Yeah. If they go into Arizona, defeat the last remaining undefeated team, as banged up as they are. Oh, that's a Super Bowl trajectory right there.
All right, listen, here's what I'm going to tell Packers fans, because the amount of DMs that I have gotten over these past few days, first it was with Davante Adams, then Allen Lazard. And Allen Lazard, by the way, is close contact because he's unvaccinated. It's going to take him longer for him to return to the team, which is just a freaking kick in the nuts. Because Davante Adams is vaccinated. He's come out and said that he's vaccinated. And so because of that, if he has 2 negative tests, so he has 24 hours after the initial one, he technically could play on Thursday. There's still a shot. But there's still a shot. It's very unlikely, but there's still a shot. And I'm hoping that he's okay. I know he has a young daughter at home. Like, I hope, everyone's okay. And that will, that'll be Earl Grey. I'll take it. It'd be Earl White, but yes. So here's the thing. Packers fans, what are you stressing out about? This already, as I have talked Brandon Perna's ear off for the past 6 weeks, the Packers are already an injured team. We're missing our all-pro left tackle, our all-pro corner. We're missing our center. We're missing our best pass rusher. We're missing our second best pass rusher. We are missing Kevin King, who is unfortunately our second best CB. We're missing all these people, right? And MVS, our second best wide receiver. And it was already going to be an uphill battle. And now we lose our best wide receiver, right? And now we lose, Allen Lazard, who's second, third in the depth chart. Who cares? Everybody is saying the Packers are going to get blown out. But what if they don't? You're looking at this as there's nothing to lose. You lose a game. Okay, we lose a game. It's probably going to hurt in the standings, in playoff. It's going to have implications there. But considering we are so counted out already, go into this game and who knows, you might get incredibly surprised. And even if the Packers play competitively, I will be very honest, I will be very happy. Yeah. If they keep it close with all the injuries, with Davante Adams out, with all these things, and they keep it close with an undefeated team, yeah, I'll be a happy fan. I want them to win. I want them to win so bad, and I will go apeshit if they win. But I'm also not going to be like, oh, well, there's no point in watching the game because we're going to get blown out. No, let's see how they do. Let's see how they do, Brandon Perna.
Yeah.
That's it.
I don't have a point in watching the Broncos Washington football team game coming up this weekend, and I'm going to watch it. So,
yeah. And we got EQ. He ran the ball.
Equanimous St. Brown.
That's it.
What's his brother's name?
Oh, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Amon-Ra.
Yeah, which is just phenomenal. So, yeah.
All right. I think we did it, Tom.
I think we fracking did it. Xavier, Perna holding out the bye teams via a sneaky way of indirectly curse the Bucks and Brady at 3 since the Cowboys are truly at number 2. You also can say 13 unlucky number and
what if I cursed all the teams?
Oh shoot.
I might have a reverse curse too, honestly. I put the Patriots in the power bottom 3 the week before, and then they went out and scored 54 against the Jets. Didn't do power bottom 3 in this last episode, but maybe next week I put my Broncos down there.
Oh, yeah. Real quick, New Punk, we said we'd talk about it. I don't think the Chiefs are, throwing it. I think someone did a breakdown on this. I saw it on Twitter that, Mahomes is just doing way too much, and he's forcing things instead of taking checkdowns. Yeah. I think he is. I think Perna hit the nail right on the head when he said this was near the beginning of the season, and you said they are missing a Sammy Watkins. They're missing another threat. You have Kelsey always, you have Tyreek Hill, but they're missing that kind of threat.
Yeah, and Mahomes has to learn to sort of
run game,
find those quick throws that are 8-yard, 9-yard pickups for guys like you would have with Watkins or a Jarvis Landry, that type of thing. That's kind of missing from their offense. But Spagnuolo, that's the reason they won the Super Bowl too. Yeah, their defense came together because of him. Also, Frank Clark, somebody pointed out, doesn't even look like he's trying. Called him the modern day Albert Hainsworth. So, and he doesn't try during the regular season. And there's a lot of issues. It's defense, but when your offense scores 3 points, that's really not the defense's fault. No, they Mahomes had as many turnovers as the Chiefs had points. So, a lot of problems.
Someone said in your chat, McCole Hardman. I mean, look at his stats this year. That's what I'm talking about. He has 289 yards on 30 receptions and 1 touchdown.
Yeah, Byron Pringle better.
Hardman bad. I'm saying that they're not utilizing him to be that threat. You got Josh Gordon, he's not doing it. So you have guys that are there, but they have not been able to find a replacement for Sammy Watkins yet. So they haven't. Hardman's good in Madden, but
oh yeah, I guess here. Okay, so they're saying the faith in Dan Sorensen, because Sorensen's not playing well this year. We've seen Tyrann Mathieu doing this, looking at Sorensen what's going on? But Dirty Dan was a huge reason they were playing well in the playoffs last year. But yeah, I don't think he's lost the locker room, but I don't know enough about him. But the defense is an issue, but so is the offense.
And by the way, Rob Gronkowski, Vontae David, and Richard Sherman were all spotted in pads during practice.
Yep. They are all on their period. Sometimes I sneak one in there and get Tom. He's like, why am I doing this?
Folks!
Kept it pretty clean today until the last minute.
Until the last second, you freaking got him. Well, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate you. By the way, if you're in Scottsdale and you're a Packers fan, they're having the pep rally.
Chris, thank you.
So for Green Packers, so you can go and you can go check that out. But we appreciate you. A lot of you turned up for a Wednesday edition of GPS, and we'll see you on Friday. We'll see you tomorrow for clickbait, but we'll see you on Friday during Brandon Perna's birthday extravaganza.
Oh yeah, I didn't even realize.
We're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make something special happen.
I'm gonna just eat cake the whole time.
You should. You actually shouldn't even say you should try talking through it the entire time and it just falls out of your mouth. I hate Rodgers, but if you put him on the Chiefs, they would be above 500.
True that.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tom Grossi. That's Brandon freaking Frackin' Perna. You've been navigated.